having. And then we shall talk about some of the few things. The beauty with this class today, you covered some of the things in computer systems in your first semester. So I may be a little bit faster in some of the concepts because you have them. It will be just a nice break to correct some of the few components. So our class today, it is introduction to a personal computer hardware. The main hardware, we are going to look at the hardware inside. And today, if we move on well, we may start on dismantling the machine. So whoever is here, you're going to learn how to dismantle a machine completely. And inshallah, next week, after enjoying our Eid, then we shall have to dismantle laptops virtually. So let us be ready and let us be organized. Inform those guys who always hide, who don't get MBs for my classes. Let them try to get MBs to make sure that we move together and then add more on our skills. As I've already said, that today we are going to be chatting with some of the concepts of hardware, the personal computer, explain how to keep personal computers components safe, and then how the components of the computer looks like, and then we shall talk about briefly about electricity, but that one I want to go too much because you have a paper which concerns about electricity. So you'll get more information in that paper, but for me, it will be just to show you the connectivity between the computer and the electricity. Without electricity, you can't have a computer. So means a lot. Then the components that we find inside the computer, that one we shall just rush through them due to the concept that we have previously. Okay, then we shall talk about this assembling of the PC. Okay, assembling of the PC. Just in a moment, let me organize that video and then we'll start. Okay, dear students, let's continue. I was interacting with somebody from the university. Now, dismantling the machine, assembling the machine. Today we may look at basically the kits. What kits do you need to have as a technician? You guys, you decided to be technician or to do IT. Now, this is the concept where you're going to learn how to become a technician. So there are some specific components that you need to move with. Okay, and right now, if you have them automatically, you become that professional. Automatically, people will be calling you a technician. That right now, if you are calling yourself an IT, and then you don't even have a CD, you don't even have a simple CD having operating system, then please, there are some things that we are supposed to be closer to them because of the course that we took up. Then you need to have, as you have a pen for this class, again, for even repair, you need to have screwdrivers, you need to have voltmeters, different concept, different tools with you to call yourself a technician. So all those components, we are going to look at them and what components do you need to buy in the market, and then you can start your journey. Then we shall look at how do we dismantle a PC virtually. I'll be sharing some few softwares to you, and then you do it at your home. If you can do it virtually, then you can try it on your laptop. Please don't call me if you dismantle it badly. Make sure that you follow the process very well. So those are the things that we may have in our class, if I may try. Now, let us talk about the personal computer. Members, I want you to take time and then watch this video, then to understand what a personal computer means. Let's see if the video will come. Let me hope that the video, you can get it very well. And the sound, if it is clear, please you tell me in the chat. I'm going to start the video. Okay. I've seen somebody telling me no sound. Let me try to reconnect it so that you can have the sound. So please, I'm going to start it again. Fatuma, you tell me whether you can hear.
Look at what's inside of a computer. Now, to start off, computers have changed drastically. What we can see here is this little computer can do everything we see on my desk right now. It can connect to a speaker, and a monitor, keyboard and mouse, and even a webcam and a microphone. It used to take a room just full of mainframes to do what this little single board computer can do. Also, our computers are drastically changing because now we have integrated computers in smartwatches and even health and fitness trackers. It's astounding where we're at now. So let's talk about what a computer does. The computer is going to take input, and by taking input, it's then going to store it in memory. It'll be processed and then be provided as output. So let's chat about it. We've got these input devices here. I've got a keyboard and a mouse. I've got a microphone. Then I've got output. I've got speakers. Here, I have my monitor. Also, there's another input device sitting right here staring at me. It's my webcam. That's going to take in data as well. So let's change it up and talk about some of the other components in a computer. So those components on the outside got to connect somewhere. So we can take a look at this box. People call it a box. It's a computer case, it's a computer tower. We just call it the box. When we take a look at the box, you can take a look at the front of our box, and you'll find that we have USB ports to plug in our components on the outside, like keyboard and mice. You got a headphone for a speaker out. You got a microphone in port. And you've got this optical drive for those people who still use CDs, which you never know. Now, besides the front of the box, we can take a look at the back of the box. On the back of our box here, we can see a variety of different items. We've got the power supply to plug in the computer case and power everything going on. We've got these adapter cards here that give us extra functionality. One here is for networking and internet. The other one's for display to give us multiple monitors. And besides all that, down below we've got these connectors here that hook to the system board. I've got some for the microphone. I got something for a speaker, for external line in to put those high powered audio and send it into the computer system. I've got multiple display ports here regarding VGA, DVI, some cool ways to output to, again, monitors. Now these things aren't as powerful as this graphics card here. That graphics card there, well, that would be something like this. Something big and beefy to play your games, to do things such as virtual reality and 3D, you name it, that's where that goes. Now, these graphic card ports here, it's built into the motherboard, not as powerful. Down below I've got 4 USB ports to connect more external devices and components, and I also got a built-in networking jack. Why 2 networking jacks? Because one might be built into the system board, and another one might be awesome for gaming and high performance. Let's take a look at the inside of this case and see what else we have going on here. Let's get inside the box. So we'll take off this side panel here and we'll get into the internals of our computer system. So we take a look at the inside of this computer system. One of the first things we see is this fan here. And this fan is sitting on top of these fins. And these fins have one job: to keep the CPU underneath cool. That CPU is going to be executing instructions and running programs. And that CPU is going to get really hot really fast. That heat's going to go to these fins, and this fan here is going to cool down those fins. Now, what's that CPU doing? Well, as our computer system takes an input, it's going to be taking in information. That information is going to be processed through that CPU, and it's going to be stored in things like this hard drive here, or right here. And so these memory sticks, they're called our RAM. And these RAM sticks here are going to temporarily store data so it can be executed faster by our CPU. When we store data permanently, we put on this hard drive over here, which is a solid state drive. An example of that would be my solid state drive right here. These solid state drives are going to retain data and be able to read and write data very fast. Now besides that, we have some expansion cards and that network card we saw earlier. These are in expansion slots, which give us more functionality. It adds more to our system board. Where's the system board? Well, that system board is this entire motherboard down below, which is attached into our computer case. This motherboard is full of different components and capacitors and circuitry. It allows our entire computer system to be able to be sending and receiving data. At the top here, I've got an optical drive. That optical drive uses those old-style CD, DVD discs. Yep, that can temporarily store data on a CD or DVD. Up here, this is our power supply. This is providing power down to all the components within the system, including the main board itself, that system board. This power supply will attach to your wall outlet and give you the power needed to run all of your components inside. Whether you have a small graphics card or you're dropping in the latest and greatest beefy ones in order to run anything you want to throw at your system, including gaming, homework assignments, as well as business and productivity. So get started identifying what is inside of your computer and become an IT professional.
Okay. I think, dear students, you have seen, if you want to become an IT profession, watching that video helps you to retrieve what is important about knowing the computer in its totality, knowing what is needed to understand the computer. The things that we are sharing today, I don't want to assume that it's not, you have never heard about them. You have the clue, but now to go deeper into understanding them. So you have seen simply from the video. That's why I told you that in our lecture today, we may not take much time into the details of the slides, knowing what we are supposed to do, but I will just try to go straight away on understanding the things. Okay. So yes, Fatuma, I'm seeing your concern that it requires physically seeing it. Yes, that physical part will be there, but we just pray that everything moves on well. That if we can move segment by segment, then it will be very easy for us to understand. All the materials that are prepared, they will help you understand what's needed. So talking about safety issues. Safety issues is very important when it comes to machines. These gadgets that we do have, they have voltage, they have power inside, they acquire a lot of voltage. So automatically you need to be in position that you safeguard yourself and make sure that the components are secure. So there are different guidance that you need to follow to make sure that you don't affect the machines. Some of the precautions that you need to put in play, that some of you have ever tried touching on our uh, older versions of TVs at home, and those cathedral tube TVs. Uh, you could touch on it when it is off, and then you feel some sparks coming out. Those sparks are not sometimes, they are both coming from you and then the TV itself. That means we generate electricity. And that's why we advise any technician, if you are going to handle any machine, you're going to be maybe you're troubleshooting a machine, you shouldn't be barefooted and you are standing directly on the floor. You may end up killing many gadgets inside the machine. Why? Because you generate a lot of electricity. Okay, so that's why they say at least 3,000 volts of static electricity must build up for you to feel some electricity in you. So you need to try to follow some of the recommendations that we have here. Try to use a mat on the floor, so that if you can put a mat on the floor, okay, stand on it, okay, put something or put there a paper and stand on it. If you are barefooted, I want you to get me clear. If you are barefooted, stand on something wooden, so that that's why for us the Muslims, Madam Teddy, you should know that we are encouraged to move around barefooted, or at least you move barefooted. It helps you generate, the doctors, they will tell you that you are generating vitamin C in your body, the one that you are looking for during this time of COVID. So try to move barefooted, Fatuma, move around, not in your room, because some of your rooms are well vanished. Move outside on the floor, and then you feel that dust automatically. It is helping you to improve your body. So these things are very pertinent when you try to share it here, that even us, we have electricity that we need to try and avoid by using different gadgets. I'll be showing you a video to help you understand that. So what are the components? The components are very clear, will be very fast in things. That a case, as you have already seen it in the video, these are the some of the explanation that we have, that the case have different types. Form factor refers to the physical design and the look of our machine, of our case. So whenever we talk about what is the physical, the form factor of anything, we are talking about the layout, how something appears, how something looks like. Okay, so even machine, they do have different casings, and these casings, they help us to protect different gadgets inside. They come in different formats, as you can see: horizontal case, full size tower, compact tower, all in one. Okay, so all in one, as you can see it in our sample here, all in one. You have everything packed into one gadget. Okay, uh then we have supply. Power supply, you saw it in the video. What it means, power, it gives power to the rest of the components inside. And that's why that anything, if you see that you start your machine and it doesn't start, the first thing to check it is the supply. Is it, you may try to see the power supply. Sometimes some power supply, they have triggers, okay, where you can put it on and off. Okay, so they come with different form factors, different sizes. Okay, now you can see these are the different technologies or different layout supply. So even if you're going to buy for a client a power supply, you need to know power supply that you are buying. Is it an 80 or ATX. ATX, these are the extended ones, very powerful. At least they have more connectivities, which connects to different gadgets on your machine. Okay, so these are all types that you can find on the market. So you need to know which type of power supply are you going to be using. Okay, the power supply, they come with those connectivities, okay, which connects different components. Okay, they have different names, different where they connect. You can see them. We have Molex connectors. Okay, we have the 20 or 24 pin connector, which connects to our motherboard. If you try to look at it, but I'll be showing you in the video where we connect all those connectors. So these are the different types of connectors displayed here, where they are supposed to be connected. You have SATA connectors. The SATA connectors, most of our gadgets are using SATA connectors, serial advanced technology, okay, which connects at a higher speed on our hard disk. Nowadays we have changed from the hard disk to SSD, okay, very fast storage, components to be used nowadays. These are all the connectors that you can connect onto our machine. Okay, the power supply, they come with different voltage. Okay, you can find that the most common voltage supplied 3.3 volts or 5 volts, 12 volts, that is the highest, depending on what receives it. You find that the motherboard receives more power than some of the gadgets that you have on your machine. So the power supply, it supplies power to the rest of the components onto the machines. Okay, so you'll find now we talk about a motherboard. A motherboard, as some of you have read a clue about the motherboard. Why do we need to have a motherboard? And what's some of the usefulness of a motherboard? Motherboard has a lot. It has different components that it connect, different components which connects to the motherboard by using different extension slots, ports, and circuits which are found onto the motherboard. And then the motherboard, as you can see it at the back, it has buses. These buses are very critical when we start repairing. You'll find that one bus, if it is damaged, it may avoid you from, getting a service of different components. So we check them, and then we can also solder them if they are totally down, and then we have them working again. So this is the motherboard in front, the way it looks like. Okay, what components onto the motherboard: the CPU, as you saw it in the video, RAM, okay, then extension slots, then even we have the BIOS chips. These are very important when time comes to explain furthermore about different components and how we can troubleshoot them very well. We shall be in position to integrate them very well. Okay, so the motherboard is always divided into two layers, or into two texture laid down of it. We have a north bridge and the south bridge. These bridges are used so much. Yes, sir. Somebody is asking, sir, extension slots, what does they? Okay, extensions. I'll explaining more in details because but these extension slots, we use them to add no longer working the inner mouse the mouse slot is not, the mouse port is not working. Then you can go and buy a mouse or a mouse card or a network card. If your network card, which is already onto the motherboard, is no longer working, you go and buy a network card. That network card sits on the extension slot. the extension slots, that's where you can add more other technologies. If your videos are no longer working, go and buy a video card and then you add it onto the extension slot. We shall see it explanation, and then you understand it very well. Then we talk about motherboard. The motherboard also they come with different types, different form factors. Okay, there are many with different types. That's why it is very important that if you are going to buy for a customer motherboard, you need to know what type of motherboard am I going to put in this board. If the board can only, accept the ATX for the ATX size of motherboard, make sure that you use the same. Make sure that you supply the same, or you go and buy the same, because you'll be knowing the detail. You can't go and buy a motherboard for your smartphone or motherboard for laptop, and all different variations that we need to understand. Okay, so they become the choices of motherboard form factors determine how the individual components are attached to it. Okay, and basically you'll find that what determines it most of the time, it is the power supply. The power supply may determine which type of motherboard that you're going to have inside. Talking about the CPU everybody knows. I'll just talk about some of the critical one. They have different types of architecture laid down. Okay, we have those one with pin and then the land create array. Okay, these are the types that we have here. Okay, this one, they also determine that if you are sending the market to buy, what type of CPU are you supposed to buy. That time will come when we are explaining about what are you supposed to buy, and if you're going to buy it, when do you decide to buy the right one. Then talk about the cooling systems. Cooling system, you saw in the video, it was well explained. The cooling system, the fan blows and then gives aeration to the rest of the gadgets, that mainly to the CPU. So we have two types. We have what we call active and passive cooling. Okay, and when you talk about active, we talk about the fan itself, and then the passive, we talk about the heat sink. That heat sink sits onto our CPU so that it keeps that CPU cool. Okay, and I understand that some of you, when you are overheated, Allah, but you may become very wild. It is again applies to the CPU, the brain of our machine. So if it doesn't receive enough heat, then you're going to be in problems. Okay, it needs to cool down, and the more it cools down, you get ways of solving many of quick making quick solution to whatever action that you give it. So passive solution for a cooling usually involves reducing the speed at the component. Okay, so and you find that it is always added onto the heat sink of the machine. Okay, a fan is always considered to be the active cooling. Okay, so there are different types of memory. For some of you, you have ever seen memory chips, or Mr. I don't know whether it was Mr. Asad who taught you computer system, but he talked about them in your class, that we have different types of memory that we use in our machine. And what are the main uses of memory? It is to add, whenever you add more memory in your machine, enhances the performance of your machine. The more you have, like some of you, for you remember, I don't know whether some of you are still using it, but you take a marijuana to come for my class, to feel that, yeah, at least I can understand whatever he's talking about. Why? You have added the memory, but the memory just needs you to eat healthy. Okay, to have some have fun with colleagues. You don't need to be so much stressed, and the more you eat well, automatically you're adding into your memory. Okay, so those are all things that you can use to add, not chips and chicken. That one may not help you to add memory in your what? In your brain. So those are all incentives that we're trying to combine and understand. So there are many different types of ROM. We have RAM and then ROM. ROM, these are basically chips found onto the machine. Chips are, put on our machine. Okay, Francis, I see your hand. You can type in the chat if you want to say anything, and then we shall see how we can help you. Okay, so you'll find that we have different types of ROM. Okay, these are different chips found on our machine. Okay, they are well explained in this chapter what each does. Okay, we'll take time and go through them very well, what each does, and then inshallah when we start if we get an opportunity to see them physically with you, I'll be positioned to show you where are they found on the board, but we are going to be seeing them in form of virtual setting. Okay, these are all different chips which are put onto our machine to help us to help the machine remember, okay, the manufacturer's information mapped onto it. And that's why when you open, you'll find that you can see many information. Okay, Francis is asking, sir, what of the cache memory? Yes, the cache memory. Okay, I don't know whether we may see it here, but to explain about it, cache memory is like, as somebody may say, what's your name? Immediately you say Francis. Before you even think about anybody else, you think about Francis because they have just said, what is your name? And the time they ask for your name and you can't recall it, you can't remember you don't even need to remember, but you can't even know whether you are Francis. That means there's a problem on our cache memory. Cache memory, it is just a temporary memory designed for our machine to remember that a mere typing G means Google. A mere typing something, and just typing I, it refers to IU. If you're always frequenting to the site of IU. So whenever you are always using something frequent every time, it is stored in the cache memory. So that cache memory helps you that any time, right now, you know that if you are not fasting, you're only thinking about food. And wallahi, if you don't eat that food, you are in trouble. Why? Your cache memory is telling you that it is time for food. But if you are fasting, for sure it will never even bring it to you closer until the time for breaking. That's when you feel some hunger, and then you find where's water, what? Because the cache memory has already executed that it is time for this. So some things that we always do that which may not make you to remember too much, that's what we call cache memory. Okay, somebody is asking, what is the difference? Okay, Abdurrahman, what is the physical difference between RAM and ROM? Okay, RAM and ROM, the difference we can say that ROM that you see, it is added. You can add it yourself, even if you're not a manufacturer. Okay, and that RAM, it doesn't keep information permanently, but for the ROM, it keeps permanent information from the manufacturer. Yes, it can be updated by a software, it can be updated online, but the difference we can say physically, these are chips put, as you saw, the chips are totally different from those are chips as you can see them here. They are mounted onto the motherboard, or they are also bound to add onto the machine for tracking. Okay, so then when you talk about the RAM, we saw it, as you can see this example, that you can just buy that chip and you add it there, okay, in your machine. And the more you add them, they enhance your performance of the machine. Okay, that's what I can say as of now. RAM has different types that you can find in the world of RAM. Okay, we have the dynamic RAM, we have the static RAM. These are all well explained in our fora here. We always see about DDR2, DDR3. Members mark this. If you are going to the market to buy RAM, or you're going to Nasa Road or Kampala Road to buy RAM, don't just go and then say that I want RAM. RAM of which category? Because some machines, they support different types of RAM. You'll find that your machine supports DDR2, and for you have bought DDR4, and for sure you try to mount it in your machine, and you find that it isn't working. So you need to know what type of RAM that are you buying. These are all types of RAM, which are, you see here. The way you see the arrangement, it shows you even the manufacturing hierarchy, that this was the first one up to what we have right now. So make sure that you consider the type of RAM. DDR4, very fast machine, they use DDR4, good machines. So be mindful about that. This is well explained here. It is about you to read that simple English and then understand the variations and the speed and what is needed. Okay. Then we have memory modules. Memory modules are just well explained here. Memory modules, like the RAM that you use in your smartphone, is totally different from the RAM you use in your laptop. That is the difference with memory modules. So that is well explained here, that you have different modules of RAM. RAM which goes to your smartphone is totally different from the RAM that you use in your laptop or a desktop. Okay, so they are totally different because of different modules. Okay, now we have memory errors, which always occur when data is not stored properly. These are just different messages that you get to detect that you are trying to store something and something happened. So it was memory were designed to update or to give a signal whenever it sees some kind of malfunction onto the machine. So if you are trying to store something on your machine and it is not properly stored, you've been always seeing that message that you have not yet completed the storage. So automatically you get that tone onto the machine. So it was designed with the capability of checking errors if maybe the software that you installed was not completely installed. Then you'll be in position to see a message on your screen. Okay, these type of errors are many in the world of work. Okay, then we talk about adapters. Adapter cards are like Fatuma, she asked about that thing. So about extension. The extensions we have on our motherboard, they always found on the motherboard. So what happens? These adapter cards, you buy them separate, okay? And then you add them in your machine. Why do you buy them? As long as you find that some of the things that you've been using on the machine, which were built on the machine, are no longer working, which were built on the motherboard, they are no longer functioning, then you go and buy what you want. You may buy a sound adapter or a sound card. A NIC means network card. And then the SATA connector, that means you have a problem with your SATA connectivity. They are no longer. Then you have video cards. People like games. You can buy a video card and mount it to your machine. You can buy a TV card and your laptop becomes a TV than buying a TV. Like in this COVID where we don't have money. So you can just go and buy a card. They do vary by the amount that you may buy from. Okay, so that one is also very important to know. There are many, the list you can see it there. Okay, so it means that you need to understand. Yes, Fatuma, you asked the right question, that it means that everything found in the motherboard can be bought. Yes, you can buy anything which is found on a motherboard. You can buy a processor if the processor is down. You can buy a fan if the fan is down. These are very important, that if you find that they are not anything which has been fault on the motherboard, you can buy it and add it there. You can mount it again. There are buses, there are those different components on it. You can buy them if they blow and then get another one. Okay. Somebody is saying, can they be updated than buying? Now the issue is, what are you updating? Hardware you can update its own software embedded on it, but if the hardware is faulty, you only go and buy the hardware. You can't buy by updating it. If members, there are two issues here, but we shall get to know them later. That we have two problems in the world of computing. We have two problems. One is hardware-related problem or software-related problem. For the software-related problem, may require to update. For a hardware-related problem, you may require you to do more kind of, going and buy or do troubleshooting. Okay. Okay. Some people are asking many questions. Let me try to look at them as I continue. Do I need to, if my computer cannot connect to Wi-Fi? No. The network interface card for it, if you are using Ethernet, the one that you use at IU with cables, that one is called the Ethernet. But if for wireless, automatically you need to buy wireless. You can buy a modem or a wireless adapter, and then you add it there. Then you can get the wireless. Like if you have a desktop at home and then it can't connect on wireless, then you go and buy a wireless adapter, and then automatically you'll be ready to go on. Brother Yasser, you are saying that the processor sold right onto. No, brother. We shall see it. Okay, let us continue. Remember, some of the questions you are going to be seeing them as we move on. Okay. Sorry, Fatuma, your network is breaking for sure. Mine or yours, I don't know whose, but I hope that mine is still moving on. If you have some troubles, you can alert me on time. Mine is still on, has no problem. And I want to move a little bit faster so that at least then we have storage devices. Everybody knows what are different storage devices. Okay. You can go and read through them. They have different storage device interface. Or interface means their connectivity to the motherboard. Okay, there are three if you are using SATA connectivity, but I'm talking about SATA because some of you are not getting it very well, but you're going to see it when you talk about connectivity. But I show you the cable of the connector of a SATA. That means if you look at your power supply, it has different cables, but those cables, they sit where? This is what we are talking about whenever I talk about SATA. So there are those cables which are called SATA connector. So they sit onto your storage devices. Okay, so we shall see them when we start the practical part. So we have different, the CD, the hard disk, the tapes, people are still using them. Then we have the SSID. Okay, members, I don't know whether some of anybody amongst us has those SSID, it moves very fast. Small, it is the one that you have on your right. It is always very small, very fast. Okay, they are similar to the HDD, to the hard disk, but the speed, changes a lot. Okay, so they are well explained here. What is the comparison? That they are faster than and less expensive than. So you can see that the hard disk are less expensive than the other one. So these are all different components that we need to understand when you are buying. When you are buying, make sure that you know what gadget are you buying. It gives you the eye opener of knowing what you're going to buy. Okay, the CD, we have different types of CD. Okay, the list is endless. You can go through it in your free time and understand the different CD types that you can find in the market. Now, talking about the video ports and cables, okay, people, you're having different smartphones at home, or you have smart devices at home. They have different cables, connectors they are using. So these are the different types that you can use. You have Thunderbolt, very fast, connects smart and clear pictures. Okay, people are no longer using VGA cables. VGA cables, yes, they connect, but for sure you won't see a clear picture than the previous ones than the one that we have nowadays. Okay. Then other ports are the one that you see. Some of you have been used with them, the USB, the the IDE. IDE, you'll be seeing them when we are connecting to the motherboard, those cables. Okay. Then we have adapter and converters. Okay, members, we find that sometimes you may go to the market and the customer is saying that my card, my maybe cable cannot connect, or you find that you have a different laptop and somebody has a different laptop, so you want to connect and get data from there, and it doesn't use the normal USB, so automatically you can go and buy a converter which converts from the other technology to another technology. You can see it from here. Okay, you can convert from DVI to VGA adapter, or USB to Ethernet converter. These are all different converters. You buy them. Remember, these are some of the tools that you need to have in your toolkit. You buy them and have them in your toolkit to survive. That when you find that problem, and if you try to see the examples here, it gives you the incentive. I was talking about SATA. We have Molex to SATA. That means before we are using Molex connectors, which we are connecting to our storage device. Now, because of the advancement in technology, people are using SATA serial. Serial means moves very fast. Molex was just using pins which takes long to connect, and if the pin breaks, you're in problem. But when you talk about your serial, it just connects very fast to whatever you want. Okay, as we try to move very fast and wind up, then we talk about the original input device. They are here. Members, the list is endless. Go and read. Okay, keyboard, I don't need take time telling you what the keyboard, people who play games, the joystick, game pads. Okay, the list is endless. Then we have the new technologies, the touch screen. People who are using touch screen, their smartphones, at least the world has to use touch screens. Okay, there are many. The barcode readers, scanners. Okay, now look at the new webcams. Okay, you can at least, if I put on my video, can watch me. I'm avoiding to put it on because of internet on your side, but inshallah we shall have one day, and we put on our video, take a nice class group photo. That means even the group photo can be taken with the smart technology that we have nowadays. Okay, we have signature pads. You don't need to move with your paper and then you sign. No. Things have changed, the brothers and sisters. You can just need to sit there, and Fahad will send you a simple signature, and then you get his money from the bank. You don't need to move. We have smart card readers. Okay, things have changed. We are still moving the money, but people in Western countries, people are just using smart card readers. They swipe in, and then he receives whatever he wants. But us here, you look for the coin, and the coin drops down in the car, and then you start shouting to everybody. No, things have changed. You just swipe in on a taxi, and you get out. And if it doesn't swipe in, you have nothing there, then you'll be in trouble. The door won't open. That is the power of technology. Okay. I'm seeing Ashraf, you're asking if I buy USB to Ethernet adapter, will I be able to use a phone as a modem? Or yes, you can. You can very well. You can use it as your hotspot very well. You can use it and then you connect it very well. Don't that one thing you can connect, but again, you see how it will consume power from you. Okay, so these are all the recent technologies. Facial detection, you just put in your face and then they know that you are Teddy, you enter. If they can't recognize that you are the one, wallahi, the door won't open. Things have changed. Okay, so now we have phones which recognize our voice and it opens. So I don't know whether when you get sick, whether Amina you'll be in position to open your phone. Automatically you'll be in trouble to open it. So these are all incentives that which are already on board, that you can't pray with them. This technology, I have just seen in Dubai, people are now, they are just checking on the door, on the malls. They check whether you are COVID-19 or you are not. Things are changing. But here in Uganda, we are still in trouble. You need to go to the hospital. They take a lot of money from you, and then they tell you that you are positive. By the time you reach home, you're already negative. So things are changing, okay? So let us try to change the kind of information that we have. Then output device, bus output device. I'm just showing you what you need to learn about output device. Some of the gadgets that you see there, you already have them in your homes. Smart screens, very fast. Projector phones. Okay, now we have virtual reality. They use 3D. Okay, when you guys, when you go for computer graphics in your second year, 3D graphics, designing cartoons, you need to have a powerful machine. Okay, Mustafa, look for a nice machine to survive. Without it, things are becoming very fast. Okay, wallahi, the machines we are using in Uganda, we are still back. People are using smarter machines in their rooms to do the powerful work. So we need to change as things are changing. Okay, and then we have printers, 3D printers. For those, some of you have ever tried going into my lab, there is a 3D printer which can print anything. You just you design something and then it prints. Okay, things are changing because of printers that we have. Okay, we have speakers, microphones. Okay, so dear students, as we try to wind up today, and then we see, because I don't know whether we can add more, but I wanted to go to assembling of the machine, and you see how they assemble the machine. And we'll just show you a video today, and then in our next week we shall do a virtual computer assembly. But I'm going to do it now, and then you see that we can assemble a computer virtually. Okay, and then enjoy. Okay, so somebody is asking, you mean that I need to throw away my 2 GB RAM? You're talking about 2 GB RAM laptop? Okay, brother, I don't know whether you need to slow it away, Karim, but stay with that one that you have. But as you look for, no, once you have decided to do IET, wallahi, to tell you the truth, dear students, you'll find that some of the things you don't fit, and the only way to find the right gadget to buy. Okay, yes, somebody is saying that buy more RAM. Buy more RAM, yes. I think you even understand the theory, Mr. Fahad, that if you take too much, and for sure your body can't consume it, you'll find yourself dying. Even the machine have capacities, so you'll find that if you buy your machine, the machine has a manual written on it that you can't add up to this level. If you have a Pentium 2, you may find that you can't add RAM up to 16 GB. It can only go up to 4 GB. Pentium 2 or dual core. Dual core may take only 2 GB of RAM. Why? It can only accommodate that if you add more, well, it will be there, but nothing changes on your machine. Somebody is asking, do I need to just buy i3 or i7? No, it may not be about yes and generation. Generation is also a core. i7, these are the good machine that we have in Uganda. Okay, but you need to look at the processor. Okay, i7 means that it has 7 processors at the same time. Okay, 3 core. Okay, 3i3. It has 3 processors at the same time. Together, dual, it has 2, but those 2. So I think now you have got the mechanism. I means that those are the number of processors that you have. Okay, Mugisha, you asking, sir, if a processor are old like that, cannot they be bought? Yes, the processor you can buy. You can buy a new processor, brother. If the processor is totally down and it cannot, you can buy a processor, a higher processor in your machine. Okay, if you have a processor which is of 1.2 gigahertz, you can go and buy a processor of 2 gigahertz or 3 gigahertz, but make sure that your motherboard can accommodate it. Okay, make sure that it can accommodate it. So you can buy, but when you are buying, make sure that you look at the manual provided to your gadgets. Okay, members, I don't want to do assembling today. We may just add it when we meet. How do we assemble the machine? If we are in agree with that, we can just see it when we meet next time. How do we assemble the machine? Okay, how do you assemble? But let me see if I can get to show you quickly. How do we assemble the machine? Then I'm trying to see whether we can do it quickly. Okay, Ashraf, nice question, but some questions I may not be in position to pump you or today. I don't want to freak the class, but again, don't give up from asking. We shall go slowly by slowly and then understand those few components. I just wanted to make sure that we see this video of assembling. I don't know. Okay, members, it will take a lot of time right now. Let us just do it next time so that we don't. But we shall just look at what gadgets do we need if we are to have. So let me share that and then we conclude today's class. I hope that you can see that video.
Hello, everyone. Imagine building a computer with your bare hands. Good thing we don't have to do that. We are here to look at the tools used to work both outside and inside our computer cases. We're going to start here with ESD Safety. I have an anti-static wrist strap here, and also I have an anti-static mat. With the anti-static wrist strap, we put it around our wrist or our ankle so it contacts our skin. You can even tighten it. Now, there's an alligator clip that can attach to ground. Ground for us can be a computer case or ground on an outlet. The anti-static wrist strap alligator clip can also connect directly to our anti-static mat, and this will ground ourselves correctly with our workspace. Now, as we continue, sometimes you may find a computer that has not been touched or cleaned in what seems like a decade. For situations like this, we can use a cleaning tool such as a compressed air can. When you get into a computer and you find out that a lot of computers can be completely disgusting inside, canned air like this can help us clean out the CPU heatsink, the CPU fan, the GPU heatsink and fan, and doing so allows us to keep our devices running cool and without errors. So many problems with computers is because of heat issues, and a can of compressed air should always be in your toolkit. Let's continue with screwdrivers and magnetic tips. Commonly, the magnet will be weak enough to not affect the sensitive devices within your computer, but they are usually strong enough to assist in not losing and/or retrieving screws. If you've ever dropped a screw into your computer case, you'll understand this frustrating game of retrieval. Now, some kits may come with a device like this, an extraction tool. Besides retrieving lost screws, we should talk about the most common type of screws in use. The most common type of screws are Phillips screws. The Phillips head screwdriver is what we should have in our toolkit for most of our work. Now, some computers might use Torx or flathead screws, so we should have those screwdrivers in our kit as well. While working on a computer, we'll eventually have to verify network connectivity. We should have some basic network connectivity verification tools in our kit to verify cabling, cable rating, and functionality. This cable tester can save you from experiencing a variety of headaches. If a cable is bad, we should have tools like these crimpers over here that allow us to both cut and terminate cable. An organized storage case works wonders while working both inside and outside a computer case. This holds true when you're removing screws from a variety of different adapter cards, drives, motherboard standoffs, and more. Keeping things organized using cases allows us to save a lot of headaches from occurring. Keeping organized is the top tool of the IT professional. Get comfortable using the tools in your toolkit. Build out your own toolkit now, but keep in mind, your kit will continue to grow and become customized based on your evolving skills as you become an IT professional.
Okay, the dear ones, I think you have tried to see that for sure we need to be well organized. And how do we need to be organized? By buying those gadgets slowly by slowly. You don't need to have them at once, as you can see them. You need to have them, as you can see, this gadget that you see here, the network gadget. Let me just show it to you. This one, if you are going to be doing a lot of networking, you need to have that clamping tool. Okay, so the tools are very important, depends on what you're going to be using it for. Okay, so I want to encourage you that you try your level best. You go buy them slowly by slowly, or you can go and buy a toolkit. There's a toolkit, they do differ. You find a toolkit which may take you 400 UG. Okay, then you can go and then buy one for 1,000. The screwdriver, have it. Unless you have a screwdriver with you, okay, my dear ones, ladies, in your big bags, have at least a kit which shows that you are an IT, not to kill people, but at least to have it so that you can, I'm a technician. So don't give up. Become what has brought you to do IT. So I want to wind up by encouraging you that the best way to become a technician, start by yourself. Position yourself very well. Okay, and how do you position yourself? Have the right equipments with you, have the softwares, have all the software related, that if anybody asks for the software, you can. You know that there are many people who are getting out of softwares. They are getting a lot of money, okay, by using softwares. You are here, but you don't know how even to download softwares. You don't know how to download movies, and then you are going to buy them. Okay, you can, and you have internet. If you have those three facilities, try to use them. You want to watch FIFA, and then an IT person suffers to watch FIFA. You just need to crack a simple software, and then you have your FIFA on your machine. Okay, so don't give up. The only way to survive, it is to stand up. Okay, my brothers and sisters who are listening to me, don't give up. I understand some of you are about to give up, the things are becoming a little bit tedious. No, just raise up and then identify your weaknesses and strengths. You're going to find yourself succeeding. So if you want to become a proper technician, try to give it time. I'm showing you all these videos. I guarantee you to solve problems related to IT. It just needs you to be practical enough in everything that you are doing. How? Only solve it from colleagues. Right now, I'm going to, within the few classes, I'm going to be building your college that don't fear anything, even if you haven't done it physically. Through our classes, you're going to find yourself competent enough to solve people's problems. Yes, the first time you may fail, you have teamwork. And that's why they say that there are 4 intellectual resources as I wind up. 4 intellectual resources that you can use to solve any problem in your life. And that means that you can also solve a problem related to a computer. 1, yourself. Yourself. You have the knowledge, your brain. That is number 1 intellectual resource. That's why if you feel that you are feeling headache, you know what you're supposed to swallow. You're going to look for Panadol, or you're going to take water, or you're going to sleep. These are within your brain. And if you feel that it is persisting, you go and look for a friend to help you, tell you what you can do. That means you have colleagues who can help you if you have a problem. And then you say, please, I have a problem with the keyboard, but sir, how can I go through it? Okay, as long as your brain has failed to work. So these are the intellectual resources that we can use. And another one, the documentations are there. Whatever gadget that you buy, it has documentation. Go and read the document. How does it tell you to solve that problem? And if the document fails, we have internet. For intellectual resources, you have internet. And let me tell you, the last intellectual resources always to consider is contacting your colleague. If I may tell you in the highlight, the first one is your brain. The second one is the documentation. The third one, it is the internet. The fourth one, it is the colleague or the workmate that you work with. So it means that any problem that you have in your life, the more you rush to your colleague, the more you're exposed. So my friend, Majid, don't narrate your things to Ashraf, because Ashraf may think that you are a failure, and Ashraf will be looking for those opportunities to get out of you. So before you decide to tell Ashraf that this is the problem that I'm encountering, Ashraf will be an advantage to solve it. And then he will ask you for his commission, and it will be too high. So use the internet. Any problem, you can type it in the internet, and then you'll be in position to solve it very well. So I want to thank you very much for attending. And then for those one who haven't yet completed the registration, please do it. I told you in our class that please, that certificate it will be paid for, and that's why I go segment by segment. And inshallah, next week, if everything moves on well, I understand it is Eid, and I'm waiting for my Eid. Please, Majid, my Eid, my number is active. Don't just call me to say hi, but call me to also send me Eid. Okay, so let us share the little that we have, inshallah, to one another, and then we see how to be happy to one another. So next week, the members, be ready, that you come ready for our class, don't miss it, and that we shall be having a simple test, but that test will be done in a group of 2. I'm going to be grouping you online, and then you do that test, and then once you get it well, then you'll be in position to find your marks. Ashraf, you are saying how do we pay you? You have my numbers. I think I forwarded them in the chat. There is my MTN and Warid. Make sure that when you pay, you tell me. You may not get a receipt right now because the receipts are at the campus, but once you pay, make sure that I have documented you, and then you just wait for the completion of the course and you get your a fully customized certificate from Islamic from in the international Cisco providers, inshallah. As you're also paying for Cisco, this one I have just said, I gave you that opportunity. If you don't have money, please don't hang yourself, but a good thing that your marks will be archived. Wherever you get it, you'll be in position to clear it. It is for you in my class, it is only 50,000, and that for the certificate, only 50,000 to make sure that you, at the end, you get your certificate for this. That is the opportunity that I can give. But to the outsiders, for sure, it is always very expensive. It is $100.50, 150 if you go and do it from Makele, or 100 depending on the number of students. So to do it, I will just give to you as an offer for you that you only pay 50,000, inshallah, and then I'll be in position to process for you that certificate, which can qualify you to be a qualified technician, and anywhere will be recognized, and then you can even start teaching using that certificate alone. You can start teaching before you even graduate and do something, recognized. Okay, so as I may wind up, let us make sure that we come on time and encourage those one who are always missing to attend, and people who have failed totally to complete their enrollment. Please, my number is clear. Contact me via WhatsApp, and we'll make sure that we conclude that. Any question as I wind up? The videos, coordinators connect with me. I'm finishing up the video for last week. I'm compressing it so that it is not too much for you. But whoever wants my videos, I'm going to be putting them on my YouTube channel. That even if you missed it, you can just visit my YouTube channel and get that video. Okay, but I'll be providing them in our WhatsApp group, inshallah, after compressing them by today. I'll be sending for last week, and this week I'll be also coming up with this one. So Fatuma, you have a funny question, you have a funny concern. Okay, a cake, yes. Oh wow, I make cakes for those one who want cakes. ED cake, you pay, and if you are my student, if it is costing 50,000 for you, pay down. If you are my student, you pay down. You need to support your lecturer, okay? But inshallah, let us enjoy together. Please feel free to contact me, but let us respect one another. I love you guys to respect one another, even your colleagues in the class. And even if you are chatting with me, please respect from me. You enjoy out of me. But if I see that you are not respectful, my dear, you never be my friend. But respect, Allah, you enjoy everything that I can give to you, and then you become that meaningful person, inshallah. Okay. Any other concern? Okay, Ashraf, you're talking about tuition. Yes, members tuition, at least we have hopes, depending what I'm getting from the academic registrar. Let us wait, because it is a process by process. He told you to Mr. Kibirige, it is a process by process. So let us not rush that we announced to you, because the proposals were already submitted to the council, the university council. And the University Council is yet to sit, and inshallah there will be some good news on your side, that at least they will chop some fees from you. But whoever has some few, you can be paying, as you are still in first year, automatically your money can be forwarded to another year. But whatever you have little, inshallah, pay it. When you don't have it, don't hang yourself. Stay focused, and inshallah, you never know, you may money. Francis, what are you saying? Francis, what are you saying?
Sir,
Yes.
okay, I just have a concern, however, not in relation to what you've told. I have the problem with the ERP. I understand you had told me to talk to to the ERP manager, but I think it's failing out. So it's trying to help me